to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
You're good to go.
Thank you, vote for the music.
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.
Hello and welcome back to Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast. I'm Benjamin Tadeusz.
And I'm Tadeusz.
Now today we are of course continuing our Quickfire reviews of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024, which is taking place in Malmö, and we're looking at the second half of the first semi-final, which of course will be on the 7th of May 2024. We're working our way through that running order, and now today we're coming to Moldova, who are being represented by Natalia Barbu with the song In the Middle.
If you followed the national finals long enough, I'm sure you have at least one guilty pleasure song that is absolutely nothing special, but that has this catchy hook that you really like. And so you like this song, enjoy it very much, and vote for it in the polls, even if you don't really think much about it otherwise. Well, this year's Etapa Nacional turned out to be the epitome of those songs. And with no clear standouts on site, at least known that the jury would vote for, and no bigger names to be found, Natalia Barbu ended up taking the trophy and the ticket to Eurovision. In the Middle is a true social phenomenon in terms of how overnight it turned from fan favorite and bookmakers favorite to win Etapa Nacional to an actual winner of Etapa Nacional, as well as last place in almost all the fan rankings, and eventually also one of the lowest placed songs in the odds to win Eurovision, sometimes even being dead last. I mean, sure, somebody had to be last, but we have Germany for that, don't we? However, I'm not here to tell you that Moldova is some sort of underrated hidden gem of this year's contest. Far from it. For all things and purposes, In the Middle is just what I described at the beginning. A song with catchy hook that is otherwise completely unremarkable.
To be honest, the song just doesn't do a lot for me. It's fine. I don't really see what you mean about the catchy hooks. I mean, there is one hook that is not overly catchy, in my opinion. It doesn't sound like it's your hit song that you want to go and win Eurovision with, or try and do well at Eurovision with. It sounds like a song which has been left on the shelf for quite a while and is just being trawled out because you're just making a bit of a half-assed attempt. And somehow this has won the national final, probably because of low quality overall in that national final. And Natalia's name, as said, she has previously represented Moldova at the Eurovision Song Contest before. That was in 2007 with Fight. She is one of two artists returning this year alongside Hero Bjork from Iceland. But the song itself isn't terrible, like it's not bad at all, but there's very little that's in any way unique or memorable or catchy or anything. It's like the oatmeal of songs.
What I do want to say is that it's far more interesting what caused its reputation to deteriorate in the fan eyes so quickly. While some would point to the scandal that accompanied the tiebreak of the final to win Moldovan selection, I see the explanation elsewhere, and in a way it's far more simple. The downfall of In the Middle was its staging.
Well, yes, the staging is questionable at best. I mean, it usually is questionable at the Moldovan national final. There's not usually much vision seen there. But this is, not great whatsoever.
Now, Natalia came to the correct conclusion that with her whole national final competition being at more or less similar level, the orthodox presentation won't do, and she has to do something absolutely attention-grabbing on stage. However, what she ultimately came up with is straight up mind-boggling. Natalia and her back singers all wearing identical outfits of the stereotypical violoncello player, performing the completely stale choreography which barely even catches up with relatively fast rhythm of the song. Okay, to Natalia's credit, this is eye-catching. But where's the fun in this? And has Natalia taken into account that with the staging like this, she will probably be completely unrecognizable as the lead singer? Like, take a quick look at those six ladies and then tell me with a straight face that you would still recognize Natalia Barbu if she stood in the background or on one of the sides. You don't. You know which one is Natalia because you can see which one sings to a front microphone. But what if you couldn't? It's not like she's going to take that microphone with herself to the interviews.
Well, yes, that is true, but I don't think she's going to be taking her backing singers with her to the interviews. But yes, there is potentially, with at least handfuls up in the national final, there is a bit of an issue with trying to recognise exactly which one she is, and that could cause problems later on in her Eurovision journey. But if the Moldovan delegation was sensible, they would either change her costume in some way to distinguish her, change her hairstyle in some way to distinguish her, or, as I say, just only have her do the interview solely. And then that avoids any issue there where an interviewer might accidentally ask the wrong one a question, for example.
To make matters worse, Natalia's vocal performance was not splendid. It wasn't bad per se, however it felt very forced and stiff. If I didn't know prior that Natalia Barbu is a seasoned singer, I wouldn't know from this performance. This would already be a huge blow to the reputation in case of any other country. But this is Moldova. Having the impressive stage performance is literally their best known and main selling point. If they failed at that in the national final, what good can we expect from them?
And yes, that is true, and I normally would agree with you. With most national finals, I say the performance presented there is very much the template for what we're going to see at Eurovision. And if they're not delivering at the national final, then I think that gives them a much harder position to deliver at Eurovision. I will always back that and say, but with Moldova, it's one of those national finals, a bit like with San Marino, where it's, well, you can't really say that because Moldova give us the worst national final performances possible, with the worst staging, the worst production. It's always absolutely terrible. And then often they come out with something very slick, very polished, and very well staged at the Eurovision Song Contest. So I think it's just impossible, really, to use the Moldovan national final as a barometer of how well they're potentially going to do at the Eurovision Song Contest. You just have to look at the song itself. And the song itself is not much to talk about.
I unfortunately have to agree with their conclusion that the qualification to the final for Moldova this year is highly unlikely unless they pull out an absolute miracle and completely redesign the staging, which isn't out of the possibility considering that's what they're most known from doing.
Yeah, I think qualification is unlikely, but not necessarily as unlikely as the other ones. This could just slip through. I don't think it's going to, but I think the fact this semi-final is so weak does give any song that isn't borderline terrible an advantage here. So I'd say it's borderline non-qualified, but not absolute lock non-qualifier, just because there really isn't much competition here. So if I had to make a guess, it's non-qualified, but I wouldn't make that be a dead certain guess. But I do wish Moldova well, and I really hope they could turn this around, because obviously I want everyone to do as well as they possibly can with their songs.
However, is this the worst song this year? I don't think so.
So thank you for listening to our quickfire review there of Moldova's entry for this year's Eurovision Song Contest. Now we will be back once again tomorrow as we take a look at the Azerbaijani entry and give all our thoughts and feelings and analysis on that. But until that point, please follow us on all the available platforms wherever you are listening, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts or YouTube. Leave a comment, leave a reply, leave a Q&A, do whatever you can possibly do to interact with us, tell us how wrong we are, tell us how right we are. And until then, thank you for listening, and remember to vote for the music.
This is to music first, always.
We are unstoppable.
Open the frontiers to make people meet people.
Music is not fireworks. Music is feeling.
You're good to go.
Thank you, vote for the music!
This is Vote for the Music, the Eurovision podcast.